That covers the slate for the week, was it 14? Week 14.
Week 14.
Son of a bitch, man. These are flying by way too fast.
Eight games we agreed. 8 out of 5 all the way across the
I
board
know
this
it.
week.
Like I said, I think, you get this late in the season, you kind of believe.
You kind of know what
once
they
you get
are.
past Thanksgiving, you got to kind of believe what you see. At this stage.
Okay,
Friends, countrymen, fellow degenerates, welcome back to this episode of Bets and Buds. We are the Buds helping you cash your bet. I am Jason Smokin Token.
I'm Bobby Light.
Welcome back, people. Welcome back. Hope you had a happy Thanksgiving. How was yours, brother?
Mine was good.
Yeah, mine was too. It was nice and peaceful, which is always good in my book.
The cauliflower with cream sauce. It was there. My mom made sure it was there.
Well, you got a little taste of my dressing on Sunday.
I did.
Good,
it was excellent. It was very good.
Yeah, that's that shit I grew up on, man. It's like It's a little different. I mean, I had a little twist with it. But
I was surprised. I was like, this is what Jason's talking about. Let's try it.
Yeah, every Thanksgiving I gotta have some resemblance of it. Always.
That was good.
All right. Well, shout out to Director Dave keeping us up on the ones and twos. Yep. Shout out to True on the Track for keeping us up on these beats. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, add to the comment section. Any type of interaction we get from you guys is greatly appreciated. Welcome back, everybody. So we're going to dive into a little bit of Blues action here before we dive into this football slate.
Yeah, the Blues actually pulled off a good win last night.
Huge win.
Against Winnipeg. Won 4-1. Looked really good.
Dominant.
Looked dominant win. Actually outshot in the second period. Outshot them 19-3.
Yeah, dominant performance.
Really poured it on.
That defense looks totally different under Jim Montgomery.
They do. So since Montgomery's been hired, they're 3-0-1, so they picked up 7 out of a possible 8 points. We're dealing with little injuries right now. Buchnevich went out. Well, Broberg actually came back. The Blues still got to clean up their penalty kill. It's still a little sloppy.
Right.
Their power play, hopefully we're going to see Parayko out there now on it. Now that Falk actually is day-to-day.
Okay.
I didn't know if you heard about that
No, I hadn't heard about that one.
Falk actually went out day-to-day with a knee issue, I believe. So we're missing Booch, we're missing Falk, we're still missing Letty, but the Blues are back to 500 at 12-12-2. And only 2 points out of a playoff spot right now.
Right.
So they're climbing.
Yeah, they're looking good. They're looking damn good.
Bennington looks just dominant right now.
Right.
So you've got this. They're not doing an all-star game this year. They're doing a 4 countries tournament.
Oh, yeah. So, see, NHL always gets weird with the all-star game.
They are. But it's looking like you're going to have Bennington and Parayko on Team Canada as your Blues representatives.
Okay, nice. Well, I mean, like I said, we'll see how it goes and how it looks. It can't be any worse than that golden fucking slugger thing that baseball is trying to do.
The golden at bat.
Yeah, the golden at bat. I mean, like that is the dumbest shit that I've ever heard in my life.
Baseball can't seem to get out of their own way.
They can't, man. When they get to that, Rob Manfred has to go down as one of the best commissioners of all time in all sports. He has to. I mean, to call the trophy a piece of metal, just some of the other decisions that he's made.
He's terrible.
He is absolutely terrible. But this golden at-bat shit, I mean, what type of shit is this?
I thought, what was the old Milwaukee Brewers owner?
Bud Selig.
Bud Selig, I thought he was a buffoon. But
yeah, Manfred is taking the cake and running with it, man, and eating it too. I mean, it is terrible. I mean, absolutely horrible.
Yeah, no, I'd take away this stupid extra inning.
Yeah, run around second base and all that stuff dumb. Already. I mean, that's dumb. I mean, but either way, let's hear it on there. I mean, you already shortened the game as it was. You don't need to add a runner on second base for extra innings. It's just dumb.
In baseball news, though, it looks like the Cardinals are exploring trade possibilities for Arenado right now. So,
which again, this is where I talk about mismanagement of your organization right now.
2 years too late.
2 years too late of what you could have got that year when you had 60 wins. What you could have got for Goldschmidt and Arenado then, if you wanted to do a reboot, that was a time right there that you could have loaded up with talent, prospects, and then you fast forward 2 years later, these guys might be ready for the major leagues.
Yeah, you're
very
right.
easily. I mean, so again, that's just bad poor management. But it's too cold to be talking about baseball. Fuck them.
All right, that's all I had. That's all I had on
I know,
Cardinals.
because they're pissing me off every time I go down that lane, man. Every single time I get so aggravated when I think about it.
Before we jump into the NFL, let's the college football playoff rankings came out last night. You've got Oregon, Texas, SMU, and Boise State as the top 4 getting byes. Penn, Notre Dame, Georgia, Ohio State would be playing at home against Tennessee, Indiana, Alabama, and Arizona State. Now, all this changes coming up this weekend.
Yes, because we got championship
Saturday. Because you've got championship Saturday, UNLV versus Boise State. This UNLV team.
They're sneaky good.
Yes, they are. And Barry Odom, the ex-Mizzou football coach and player. Then you got Iowa State versus Arizona State for the Big 12, and then Georgia versus Texas again.
That just sounds so weird, Iowa State.
Yeah, I had to look it up. I really did. I was like, Arizona, what are they battling for? Big 12.
Yeah, that's so weird.
Penn versus Oregon. Like this, so half of these teams could be out of it by, not half. But
you know what? Honestly,
a couple of them could be dropping out.
But here's the thing: what they're saying is that they're probably going to be. I mean, unless SMU gets boat race by Clemson, totally boat race. I mean, if it's a close game, the issue is that they also don't want to diminish the value of going to a conference championship game. Because so put this in perspective: Ohio State lost last week to Michigan, got them out of the championship game, put Penn State into the championship game. So then now, if let's say Penn State gets destroyed by Oregon, then it's out of the playoff.
Yeah, and they would have been in if they hadn't made the championship.
Yeah, and then exactly. So then now you got teams talking about what Lane Kiffin said. All right, so what are teams going to want to not make the championship game now because that would be the opposite of what they wanted to have happen as far as diminishing the value of the conference championship game. So we'll see. I mean, I see probably maybe the losses maybe switching seeds more than knocking people out. Yes.
Well, if Arizona State loses, they're definitely out.
The Big 12, they're already talking about may only get one team anyway.
Right.
I mean, right now they're looking at probably 4 Big 10 teams, 3 SEC, and 2 ACC. Obviously, then you got Notre Dame and Boise. And then you got one Big 12 team. So what they're looking at probably with that is the biggest thing you'll see happen is maybe the ACC championship game. Like I said, if SMU gets booted out, that's where you got a room for an Alabama to slide in or get that 4th SEC team in there.
True. Okay.
Yeah, so
it's going to change up.
Oh yeah, it's going to change up again. It's going to change up again, which will be interesting once we see how it happens, and it'll be probably exciting time to watch that the 12-team playoff in college football.
Yeah, no, I am excited just to see because you so rarely see the good teams battling
and get to see them play it out on the field for the first time in our lives. Actually see them not just voted in by the computer, voted in by the committee, 4 teams here. Right. Now let's have a real playoff and see what the hell happens.
Yeah, this will be interesting.
I mean, it's going to be exciting.
If the favorite wins every game, well, then maybe you dial it back a little bit.
Yeah, actually, they're just going to ramp it up because they're talking about going to 14 teams, and I think if not next year, I think it's the year after.
More buys out.
I mean, yeah, maybe they may shorten the buys. Yeah. Honestly, if anything else, they may shorten the buys. So, I mean, there's a lot to kind of compartmentalize and figure out. College football has so much old money in the way, and that's always the problem with the decisions being changed is that old money.
Bowl game money.
Yeah, I mean, so that's the thing because that's why they were talking about, really, it's not really fair that the first round teams like the 5 through 8 seeds get a home game,
right? And
then your 1 through 4 seeds, yes, you get a bye, but okay, now your team is on rest and has to come out of rust, and you don't get a home game at your university, so you got to travel because of these bowl games, and so again, that's where old money has to get out of the way before college football finally gets all that right. And I think it'll happen at some point because does the Sugar Bowl have to be played in the same location? Does the Cotton Bowl always have to be played in the same location? No, they don't. I mean, you can still be the Sugar Bowl, the Cotton Bowl,
right,
and then just make it. Whatever they may be. So, I mean, we'll see how that, hopefully smarter heads will prevail as far as making that decision. All right, so let's go into this football slate here, brother. This season has been one hell of a season so far. I mean, we got some great performances and great matchups this week. This is our big bye week here coming up. This is a big bye week.
Last one, isn't it?
Yeah, this is the last bye week. So in fantasy football, I'm sure if you're like me, your roster, you're filling a lot of holes right now. A lot of holes.
This is the bad time to have a lot of holes.
Oh yeah, especially if you're scraping. Thank God I clinched my spot already because if you're scraping to get in there, man, it's gonna be a grind.
It's going to be a doozy.
And again, this is why I call fantasy football the kiddie pool, because this is some of the dumbass luck that comes down with fantasy football.
Because I don't win last week if Judy doesn't pull off.
Yeah, it doesn't go crazy.
37.5 point performance.
Oh, I mean, he went nuts, man. I mean, like an unbelievable performance.
It was awesome.
And that was Jameis being Jameis. That was a classic Jameis.
Oh, yeah. 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions.
And I didn't fucking cover because of that
6 touchdowns, actually.
Yeah, if you count the 2 pick sixes. That pick six at the end of the game. Dude goes down. That's what you call – that is the epitome of a bad beat right there.
Yep.
You got a team going in to march in the score. I had picked the Browns to cover that 6.5 points. I got them at 6.5. They were marching in the score. Could have taken the lead in the game. Only down by 2. Right. If nothing else, just don't score. If nothing else, just don't score. Or if the dude gets a pick and is down. But no, he gets up and takes it to the house. That is the epitome of a bad beat. I mean, the epitome of a bad beat. So, but that's neither here nor there. That was last week's action.
That was last week.
All right, so we got one hell of a game for Thursday night here.
Oh, yeah, this is an exciting Thursday night
game. Yes, we got the Packers at the Lions. Packers at the Lions. Who do you like in this one, Bobby?
Actually, I like Detroit to hold serve here at home. Give me the over 51.5, and Detroit will cover that 3 points. They're just too strong.
You know, they've got my only concern with Detroit.
I know they had a bad week last week, but that's a Thanksgiving game. They're coming off a short rest. I mean,
well, you know what? Let's see what happens here in this game, because if Taylor Decker doesn't play, they said the 2 games that Taylor Decker didn't play this season is when they struggled the most.
Okay.
They didn't play against he didn't play against Houston,
right,
and he didn't play in last week against the Bears. And so those were like 2 games that they kind of struggled offensively.
Yeah, I mean, it matters.
But you got to think that was that 5-pick game that Jared Goff had, and he ended up winning anyway. Then they pulled it out. And then last week, I mean, if the Bears don't have that fucking kerfuffle that Eberflus made, which
wild.
got him fired, which rightfully so, because how do you go back in front of the team after that and say, guess what, guys, that was me, and anybody take you seriously? Not in the NFL.
No,
they're
you
not.
can't.
They're not. So, but for me, I like the Packers actually to cover that 3.5.
Okay.
I think the Lions will win. I think it's going to be a tight game. I think it may come down to a field goal, and I'm with you. I like the over at 51.5.
Okay.
All right.
You got 3.5?
Yep, I got 3.5. Which one?
I've got 3.
You got 3? Yeah. All right, so I had 3.5, which I love that 3 and a hook. That 3 and a hook for that. That's what made me go with that one right there. That's what made me go with that. All right, so next up here, we got the Raiders at the Buccaneers. I got 6.5-point favorites for the Buccaneers at home. Raiders lost a horrible game last week. I mean, absolute horrible game. Should have been a victory. The center snapped the ball with ain't no comment. And they actually played a great game. It was a great game. Brock Bowers is a monster. He is just an absolute, going to probably shatter all type of receiving records. Man. I mean, he is
for
just,
tight ends for sure.
Oh, I mean, even receivers. Even receivers right now. I mean, like his breakaway ability is outrageous for a tight end.
Is he on pace for like 127 catches?
Oh, yeah, because I think he's at 81 already with 6 games to go.
It's crazy.
And he's getting like 14, 15 targets a game. I mean, no matter who the quarterback is, I mean, they know that's the weapon to go to.
The kid can ball, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
And what do you think? What really did happen on that play? Did the center get because you see the right guard tap him,
kind of nudge him, and so I mean, I don't know if that was a miscommunication.
Because O'Connell's not even looking.
I think it's a miscommunication. As a center, I mean, for me, I would think you got to give that last little peek, before you snap the ball. I mean, but obviously you can't do that because that's a tell on when you're going to snap the ball. But also, too, I mean, there was also a little bit of mismanagement on the coaching aspect too, because I've talked about this in the past. Too much shotgun in the NFL. Okay. Like have him under center. Have him under center.
I mean,
because you didn't want to lose yards on that play anyway, because you're in field goal range already with a chance to beat the Lions. So why be in shotgun at that point? Sense. Be under center. Take that. So that for me, that's more of the indictment on what happened in that game. Yes, there was confusion, but you're playing a road game. It's loud, so sound wise, you got to go on a silent count. So you have to go under center in that.
Not wrong. And then even if you do have a botched snap,
you fall right on it. You fall right on it, but not get it snap right off your knee and bounce off and perfectly, which has been the Chiefs' luck all season. So
they are the luckiest
which
team.
May be a little fool's gold. I mean, and that's what happens with good teams. I mean, they get a lot of breaks in their favor, but I mean, that might catch up to bite them, because you can only win so many times that way.
Yeah, look at Minnesota last year.
Yeah, so you can only win so many times that way. So with that being said, with this game here, Raiders at the Buccaneers, I actually like the Buccaneers. I think the Raiders, that kind of demoralized the Raiders last week. That was one of the things that maybe could have gave them a little spark to turn their season around. I think that really kind of crushed their souls. So Buccaneers have been looking good. They're chasing these Falcons. The Falcons are falling behind.
They're tied 6-6, right?
Yeah, but they're behind in the tiebreaker because they lost both games against the Falcons. So, but I like the Buccaneers to actually cover. I got 6.5 from them, win this game outright. And I like the over at 46.5.
All right. You like the over. I like the under in this one. I think this is going to be a lower scoring game.
Yeah, see, neither one of these defenses are worth a shit to me.
No, they're not.
That's the reason why I picked the over.
I mean, my over and under has been pretty sketchy.
Yeah, last week was my best week at over-under that I had all season. But I picked the over on this one also, too, because you think about Aiden O'Connell at quarterback. That's a defensive touchdown potential to happen. I mean,
true. And Baker's good for an interception.
Oh, yeah, he's good for an interception or two here or there, too, as well. All right, so next up we got the Browns and the Steelers, a rematch from that Thursday night game.
3 weeks ago?
Yeah,
2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago, that Thursday night snow globe game, as they like to call it.
They got it done. I've got 6.5 for Cleveland here. I'll take that 6.5. I think this is going to be another close one. I'll take the over 44. But I like Pittsburgh to hold serve at home.
All right, we're in total agreement on that one. I like the over, too, as well. I just got it at 44.5. Okay. Same spread, though.
I mean, they were cooking. Pittsburgh was cooking.
They were looking good. And that also shows you that, when you talk about the sport like football, when there's so many moving parts with it, you look at Russell Wilson last year, and Sean Payton clearly didn't like this dude. He wasn't his style of quarterback because Russ is going to do things off time. He's going to kind of throw like the moon ball stuff that is like not indicative of what Sean Payton likes to do to run his offense. Bo Nix is obviously see is something that fits within his realm. But Russell Wilson, but you look at what he's doing with the Steelers now. He's balling. The Steelers offense hasn't looked this good damn near 8 years.
Yeah, it's been especially the vertical attack.
Yeah, it's that vertical attack, 414 yards passing. I mean, went over 500 plus rushing. I mean, overall yards to complete his offense.
Yeah, you haven't been able to say that about a Steeler in
a long time. So I'm with you on that one. I like the way the Steelers are looking right now. It's going to be an interesting game on Christmas night when they play the Chiefs.
It is.
That's going to be a very interesting game. All right, so next up we got the Jaguars at the Titans. This is probably the game of the week.
Yeah,
Trevor Lawrence went out with that devastating hit, controversial
you got Mac
decision.
Jones coming back. I mean, Mac Jones, I brought him back within striking distance last week.
Yeah, I mean, the Texans were really kind of playing some uninspired ball. I mean, that was after Shaziz he gets ejected
from the game. He gets a 3-game suspension.
Yeah, which he'll appeal and probably get it down to one or two. I understand what Nick Caserio, the GM, was saying with coming out later. You see some consistency in the NFL because I guess a player they played earlier in the season had a similar hit where he basically got flagged for it. Didn't even get ejected, I don't think, for the game, nor did he even get suspended. So, I mean, that's what the NFL has to work on, some consistency on their punishments when it comes to how I think only because of how visible it was. Because also, like, I agree. I mean, you hear a lot of.
He did the fencing pose.
Yeah, I mean, but I agree with like a lot of quarterbacks. So you hear Tom Brady, you hear Aaron Rodgers, and they say, quarterbacks, we got to do a better job of protecting yourself.
Taking care of yourself. I mean, it is your body you're putting on the line.
Well, and because like the slide, he was that close to a first down, and so what he was trying to do is make sure he ensured the first down. Because what they do when you give up your body as a quarterback is they down the ball where you start your slide. Not where you finish your slide, where you start the slide. So I think he was trying to make sure he got the first down. In addition to the slide, you got an aggressive player coming in. It looked ugly.
Fast game.
It looked ugly. I mean, it looked egregious when you look at it, especially in live real time. But I mean, man. You put defenders in tough situations like week after week.
Yeah, how do you hold up? Like, you're running full speed.
Yeah, and you're trying. I mean, these are do or die plays here that you're doing. So I mean, that's a tough one right there. But with that being said, I like the Titans to go ahead and win this game. I think the Jaguars are pretty much done. I think they did the right. Titans, I mean, they looked horrible against Washington last week, but Washington just had a good bounce back game after that ugly loss against the Cowboys.
And Tennessee hasn't looked too bad.
No, and their defense is pretty solid. So I like the way them being able to shut down the run game against for the Jaguars. So I like the Titans to cover 3.5 points, win the game outright. I like the over only because it's at 39.5.
I like that as well. We're in complete agreement.
All right. So next up, we got the Panthers at the Eagles. This one is in Philadelphia.
This is the highest spread game of the week.
Yes.
I've got plus 12. What do you have?
I got plus 12.5.
12.5. Oh, wow.
And so last week, I think it was close to the same against Kansas City. And guess what? The week before, I guess, and they covered that 12.5. So I like that. Bryce Young is looking good.
I will take that 12.
Oh, absolutely. I want the Panthers to cover that 12.5 points. Obviously, the Eagles are going to win that game at home. But I like the over on this game as well, too, at 45.5.
Yep.
Yeah, I like the over as well, which means the public will have a good week if all these overs hit, because that's usually where the public goes most of the time when they're betting. All right, so next up we got a return to Minnesota for the Falcons at the Vikings. Kirk Cousins looked awful last week.
He doesn't look good. They were 6-3 3 weeks ago, and now they're 6-6 and fighting for their lives. I thought they were going to cakewalk that division. But.
Yeah, but you know what? You kind of expected a little bit of ups and downs, just a little bit, because again, it's still the Falcons.
So many playmakers on that offense. I just don't understand it.
They have a lot of playmakers, but the problem is that offensive line, and unless you're calling the right plays for that offensive line, they have not committed to running that stretch zone run like they should with Bijan Robinson to set it up, because that run was designed. Remember, that was the Arthur Smith offensive line from last year. This isn't a pass block and let Kirk Cousins drop back and set up shop back there. That offensive line skill set really isn't designed for that.
Okay.
So that's kind of I think where some of the struggle lies with that. With that being said, I got them at 5.5 point dogs.
I also have 5.5.
Yeah, so 5.5 point dogs. Actually, I think the Falcons can cover that 5.5.
Yep, I agree with
I think it's going to be a scrappy game back and forth, and I like the Vikings to win this outright at home. And I actually like my first under of the week at 46.5 points.
We're in agreement on this one, too. Right. Yeah, I'll take that 5.5 points. I do believe, just because this is a Minnesota game, that it's going to be low-scoring, scrappy game.
Yeah, and then like I said, Kirk Cousins
they'll pull it out at the end.
Kirk Cousins returning back, so I think he's going to play much better this week. I would think so, because there's no way he's going to throw 4 picks again he did last week.
He could.
Minnesota's
defense is not too bad.
But what you're starting to see is there's been more tape that's being seen on this Minnesota defense. You're seeing more holes in that passing game now.
Oh, they can definitely be exploited
because they were because the Cardinals were lighting them up. They just fought back and
doing anything.
Oh, they were lighting them up. I mean, Marvin Robinson was getting open. You had Trey McBride, who's been getting open against everybody. Right. I mean, it's been a. I mean, I guess as more tape has been seen on Brian Flores' defense, you're seeing a lot more openings in that offense. So I can see the ball be getting moved a little bit more. All right, so the next up we got the Jets at the Dolphins. Another division game here. Jets at the Dolphins.
Oh, them Jets. They just
they blew that game against Seattle last week. That was the biggest lead I think Aaron Rodgers has ever blown, having in the second half of fourth quarter game. Who do you like in this one, Bobby?
I like Miami to win this game, but the Jets are getting 6 points on the road, so I'll take that 6 points. I think the Jets can still keep it close. Miami's not steamboating anybody right now. But I'll take the over the 45.
Okay, so we're in agreement there. I got them at 6.5, so I got that 6 in the hook there. So I like the Jets to cover that, Dolphins to win, obviously, and I got it at 44.5. But I like the over still as well. Yep. So we're in agreement there, pretty much, brother. All right. So next up, this is probably in a close running tie for game of the week.
Yeah.
Saints at the Giants. Saints at the Giants. I mean, man, it's going to be a tough one. Especially you saw a big loss of Taysom Hill last week after he was finally getting integrated back into the offense again.
I think the Saints were probably going to end up winning that game. Once Hill went out of that game, you could just the Rams had 3 consecutive drives, and the Saints just couldn't pick anything up offensively.
Yeah, it was a deflator. It was. They're definitely good with me because like I said, Taysom's kind of a heartbeat of that team, so to speak, because he's just a Danny Do-all, you know. So.
What they showed us breakdown last week, like all the different positions he took snaps
at.
Yeah. There's like 6 different positions.
Danny Do-all, man. I mean, that's what he does. I mean, he's that Swiss Army knife where you can put him in so many different aspects of the game. And then the defensive coordinator, that's something you have to spend an extra segment of practice in order to designate what do we need to do to look out for with Taysom Hill, because that's going to be a mystery every time.
So, but with Taysom Hill going out, if you're looking for a tight end this week on the waiver wire, Jawan Johnson now, he's going to be the one to step up for the Saints. You watch it.
Yeah, he's been a sneaky big player in the past. So I got him at 4.5 point favorites on the road. I got the Saints because the Giants have just been miserable offensively.
They're so bad.
Drew Lock, I mean, he is Drew Lock. I mean, at the end of the day, he's Drew Lock. I mean, you can't.
He can make some exciting plays, but more often than not, he's going to.
More often than not, he's going to be a middling quarterback at best. I mean, he's a backup. He's a career backup at best. So I like the Saints actually to go into New York and cover that 4.5 points and get the win outright. And I like the under at 40.5.
We agree again.
Yeah,
bro.
We agree again, brother. So hopefully we're like minds think alike this week.
That is 6 already.
All right. So we got 5 more games on this slate here. So next up, we got the Seahawks at the Cardinals, which potentially is a game of the week game.
This is another rematch from 2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah. This is a game I think the Cardinals.
The Seahawks shut the Cardinals down. Yeah. Just shut them down. Only kept them to 6 points on the game. No touchdown scored.
Yeah.
The Seahawks have been shutting down mobile quarterbacks.
Mike McDonald's defense has been kind of buzzing these last few weeks. I mean, he's kind of seemed like his system is being implemented in this organization.
So I like Seattle go in and win this one in Arizona.
We're in agreement again. I got him at 2.5 to cover. What do you got?
I've got 3.
You got 3?
I've got 3.
Either way, I like Seattle
I'll
to cover.
take that 3 points. No, I'm getting 3 points.
You're getting 3 points?
I'm getting 3.
That's what I mean. So I'm getting him at 2.5 dogs. Yeah.
But I like the under in this one. I think it's going to be a scrappy one.
I'm with you on that one. I'm under as well. 44.5. That's 7 games there. So I got him at 44.5. What'd you get it at?
44.5.
Okay. All right. So next up here, this got the Bears at the 49ers.
See, this is one I was going back and forth on before I circled it, and I still, even though I'm going to say this, I'm not going to fill out my football sheet tonight, not do it till tomorrow, because I could still flip-flop on this one. I don't know. San Francisco is just so banged up. And McCaffrey going down again.
Cost me a parlay, man. 7 yards away.
Mason is also going on IR, so you're down to Garendo again. Yeah. Your third round back. I mean, your offensive line's banged up. Your defensive line's banged up.
Yeah, because we don't know if Trent Williams is back. Yeah, I mean,
I'm going to pick them to win because it is Chicago, and Chicago's starting a new coach, and I think that locker room is just so fractured right now that they're not going to get that coach bump you're looking for.
See, I think they will.
You think so?
I think they will.
So you're going with Chicago?
Yeah, I'm going with Chicago this week. This is going to be my upset of the week here for this one because I think Chicago's actually going to get this game because I think 3.5 is a little high. I might get it. San Francisco's at home here, but I like the fact that because Eberflus, I think, was the divider in that locker room.
Right.
I mean, you probably had half of the guys on the team, but probably I'd say 2/3 of the guys on the team that didn't believe in this dude. I mean, they just didn't. I mean, there's too many mistakes have been made, coaching-wise, decision-wise. I mean, just all the way around.
Who did they promote?
They promoted the guy who was actually promoted to offensive coordinator after they fired Shane Waldron.
So he's had a hell
So yeah, so now he went from having to manage the quarterback to now he's got to manage the whole team. But I think I do believe in that coach's bump.
Okay.
After taking over for a fired coach. So I like the Bears to actually cover that 3.5 points that they're underdogs at. Win that game on the road in San Francisco, and then under at 44.5.
You like the under?
Yes, I like the under.
Well, that's the first one we're in total disagreement on. But, like I said, I leave it up to change my mind.
All right. Next up, we got the Bills at the Rams. Bills at the Rams. These red-hot Bills, man.
I'm telling you what, the Bills could be tough, and that defense is really starting to pick it up.
Yeah, Matt Milano's back. I mean, that was a huge addition back to the defense.
The Rams, they barely beat the Saints last week. I don't think they – it's Josh Allen's girlfriend's birthday.
Oh, yeah.
So, Buffalo's going to go in and destroy these Rams. Give me Buffalo to win. Give me the over 49.5, and Buffalo to cover that 4.5.
All right. See, for me, I think Buffalo's going to win the game, but I actually think the Rams are going to cover that 4.5. I think it's going to be a scrappy game. I think they're going to cover because it's in L.A., so they don't have to worry about any elements whatsoever.
And Josh Allen's never lost on the West Coast yet.
Oh, really? But I don't think he's going to lose, but I think the Rams will cover that 4.5. I do. I think they're going to scrap and keep their way because, I mean, that young defensive line the Rams have could be problematic a little bit. So we'll see what happens there. All based on if the Rams are going to be able to run the ball against the Bills, which they should. The Rams definitely have to run the ball. Yeah, they have to run the ball. They have to because they have to kick that Bills offense off the field. Mm-hmm. All right, and then I like the over at 49.5. I like the over at 49.5. All right, so next up we got the Sunday night matchup. Which should be the game of the week here. We got the Chargers at the Chiefs.
This is a pretty intriguing game. The Chargers won a game last week without scoring an offensive touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, they're deep, but they have the number one scoring defense in the NFL.
But you're looking at McConkey. It's probably going to be – he's questionable right now. They're saying he could be doubtful for this game. So that's your number one receiver right there. And he's having a hell of a rookie season.
And then J.K. Dobbins is still on the IR.
Yeah, J.K. Dobbins went on the IR. Gus Edwards, I mean – and Vidal, you really don't know the usage yet. There's a third guy, and I'm blanking on his name.
Yeah, Gus Edwards just doesn't. He likes the explosion.
He doesn't have that. I mean, he's riding on my roster right now because I had to pick up a guy. But I'd like the Chargers to keep this one close. I still think Kansas City just finds a way to win this game at home. I've got 4 points, but I'll take the 4 points for the Chargers. Kansas City to win, and I like the under in this one at 42.5.
Okay, I like the under. We're in agreement on that at the 42.5. I have 3.5 for the Chargers. Okay. Actually, I think the Chargers aren't going to do more than just keep it close. I think the Chargers are going to, because with coaching by Harbaugh and his team and organization, they don't make mistakes. Okay. And he puts them. He keeps his team in games without making mistakes. And Justin Herbert, even though he has a lack of weapons, they're going to have to address this offseason. They're going to have to get some more outside weapons outside of Ladd McConkey, who's looked awesome. But I think he's going to find a way. If it's late, if there's a situation like how the Chiefs have found themselves late in the game,
you think the Chargers?
The Chargers are not going to beat themselves.
Okay. No,
they are not going to beat themselves in this game. So I think if there's any type of situation where they have a chance to still win this game, I think the Chargers pull this out, give the Chiefs their second loss of this season. So that's kind of where I'm leaning on that.
I'll happily be wrong on this one.
Oh yeah, man. You know what? Because I'd love to see them have to go into Buffalo. I'd love to see them have to go to Buffalo. All right, so next up here, we got the last game of the week, Monday night, Bengals at the Cowboys. Which,
this one.
Cowboys on a 2-game winning streak.
They are. They're keeping that bet alive. Dave, you sweating yet? Well, you don't have to because Dallas is going to lose this game. Yeah. Cincinnati's going to I'd probably end up dog walking.
Yeah, their offense has been so explosive. Their defense has been terrible. But, I mean,
Dallas, I just don't think they can keep up.
No, I don't think they'll be able to keep up in a scoring matchup. So I actually like the Bengals to actually boat race them. And they're minus 5.5 point favorites on the road. Dallas has played horrible at home, too, as well.
1-5.
So I mean, I think, and the over is at 49.5. I like the over in this one.
All right, we're in total agreement on that.
All right. So that covers the slate for the week, was it 14? Week 14. Son of a bitch, man. These are flying by way too fast.
Eight games we agreed. 8 out of 5 all the way across the board this week.
Like I said, I think, you get this late in the season, you kind of believe.
You kind of know what
once
they
you get
are.
past Thanksgiving, you got to kind of believe what you see. I mean, at this stage.
Okay, I got a 4-leg touchdown bet for you here. I mean, I've been on a dry streak. I've only hit one of my guys last week and only 2 of the guys the week before, but I like this one. Give me Jacobs for Green Bay to score, Judy to score, Westbrook Ekine, if I'm saying that right, and then Pacheco to get his first touchdown of the year.
Okay, I like that.
That's plus 23-12.
Oh, I like that. All right, so you know me, I keep it on a Thursday night slate games for coming in this week. I don't like to wait to do my Sunday bets this early. I had a couple bad beats last week. A couple of really bad beats. I mean, they like some juicy parlays. I mean, if only and one of them's my fault. I should have known better than to pick the Dolphins to cover that 5.5. But I knew, for me, I thought they could keep it somewhat close. And the way the betting is set up on FanDuel, you can't pick the Packers to win and cover.
Yeah, it is weird.
And it's kind of a weird thing. I don't understand why that's a thing, but I guess who knows? Maybe they feel like that's kind of cheating the system. But for me, on this Thursday night game, I like Amon-Ra St. Brown and David Montgomery anytime touchdown. Josh Jacobs over 70.5 yards rushing. Jahmyr Gibbs over 64.5 yards rushing. Jaden Reed over 54.5 yards receiving. That's at plus 27.60. Plus 27.60.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I like that one just because of the fact, I mean, the rejection was at 51.5.
Yeah, 51.5.
So, I mean, that means they're expecting big offensive output. I mean, I can see it happening with these teams, especially with how banked up the Lions defense is. Very familiar foes. Jordan Love has stopped turning the ball over too as well. So I like this going to be a nice back and forth game there. So that's my Thursday night special.
All right, I like it. What you got, Dave?
All right, Director Dave's dumbass pick of the week.
An 8-legger.
8-leg parlay. All right, that means you got to get your ass over there on Thursday. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jalen Hurts. We got, who's that?
Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones.
Nick Chubb.
And then Nick Chubb, Debo Samuel, Travis Kelce, Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill.
29,724.
724. 29,724.
Wow.
Director Dave's dumbass pick of the week. That's a hell of a scratch-off right there, man.
Like
That's a hell of a scratch-off. All right, so that wraps up this action this week here, everybody. This season's going by way too fast, but, we're going to keep riding along with this. Make sure you add in the like and comment section there. Make sure you shout out to Director Dave on keeping us on the 1s and 2s. True on the track for blessing us with those beats. I'm Jason Smokin Token.
I'm Bobby Light.
We'll see you next week.
Peace.